Alright guys, Joe from survivethewild.us here. I came out today to do a video response to Dave Canterbury's light a fire when everything is wet. Except I want to take it one step further. He first did a video where he dumped water on his Gore-Tex coat and he used a piece of his shirt underneath, which was dry, and lit that, even though everything else was wet, saying that, you know, something on you is going to be wet. And then somebody contested him and said, well, everything that you used wasn't wet. So he grabbed some cattail heads and he threw them in the river. He let them soak for a few minutes, and then he said, well, you break them open and something's going to be dry. So I just want to take that a step further. I want to do it where everything's wet. Like if you didn't have cattails, you're completely soaked in a river. Literally, everything is wet. Worst case scenario, absolutely. And I want to preface this with saying, I mean, no disrespect whatsoever. I don't think that Dave couldn't do what I'm going to do. I'm just answering a question that he wasn't asked. That's all. So I'm going to start. I got some stuff here. I don't have cattails around here right now, so I'm just going to use cotton balls. You can imagine that this is lint in your pocket or anything else that you could use. And a couple EDC items here to start the fire. So I'm going to start by chucking everything in the water. Here's my base I'm going to use. Wet. There's my Leatherman I'm going to use. Wet. Here's my necklace, my fire steel that I'm going to use. Wet. Most importantly, cotton balls. I got 3 of them here. Completely wet. You can see they're wet, they're smashing together. You know, they're flat. Get those all soaking wet. See? Put them over here. Oh, my lights turned on. The water's short of my lights. Nice. Good to know. Birch bark. I'm going to use birch bark. Completely submerge that. And these are the little kindling sticks I'm going to use to get started. Completely submerge these. There you have it. Okay. Now, geez, that ticks me off. I'm going to start by saying this. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this, but I went out to make this video before, and I failed because I tried to do it too quickly, because I tried to do it in one video shoot from start to finish without breaking the camera away at all, so you guys could see that I didn't use a trick or anything like that. But in my haste to make a good video, I failed because I didn't take the time that I should have. So I want you guys to learn from that mistake, and I'm going to cut the video away and continue to work on the stuff. But basically, you have to dry your substances. Now, I'm starting with a wet rock. You would be better off searching for a dry rock that's underneath an overhang or something like that. I'm starting with wet birch bark, whereas I could have just sliced open a birch tree that was somewhat sheltered and, you know, got some of the drier stuff underneath, rather than taking old birch bark, you know, off of a tree that's already fallen and soaking it in a river. You could do better off, but this is for worst case situation. So, alright, let me tell you how I'm going to dry the cotton balls. I'm going to squeeze them in one hand. You can see the water coming out. Twist them as much as I can. use my breath to dry my other hand, and then switch them over. Now every time the cotton ball gets twisted and leaves one hand and I feel moisture on this one, I know some water has come out of the cotton ball. So I'm going to do that for a few minutes. Then I'm going to spread them open a little bit, and I'm going to use my breath first, on them because it's warm, and I can blow harder breath on them. And then I'm gonna wave so that the moisture from my breath doesn't get on the cotton ball. And I'm going to spend about 15 minutes doing it. I'm not even going to try to do it in 5. I'm just going to spend a duration of time doing it until I know that they're dry enough to use. Don't rush, because if you rush, like I did before, basically the cotton ball, like, it would start to take a coal, but it would just fizzle, and I used up my tinder before I could get a piece of birch bark lit. So I'm going to take my time this time. Alright, let me cut away and get to work. Okay, I'm still working this one cotton ball here. I just forgot to say something. Another thing I do, so I got this thing, I'm drying it out, I'm blowing on it, I'm pushing air, pushing air past it. Another thing I'm doing is I'm taking it on my arm like this, and I'm creating friction. So, not only will the hair on your arm, help to kind of wick some of the moisture away, but the friction, like friction fire, you can use the heat to help dry out some of the fibers here, like that. All right, I'm just I think my cotton ball is close to dry enough. So now I gotta prep my tinder. Now I'm not too concerned about this stuff being wet. My little twigs here started. I got birch bark here, and birch bark will start wet because of the oil in it. So I really just need to get flame and get a piece of birch bark lit and just throw on the birch bark. The twigs will dry out from the flames from the birch bark. But the drier my birch bark, the better off I am. So what I'm doing is, birch bark's kind of layered. You see, if you peel them apart, you'll see the white here. That's a drier piece that's in between. You see? You can see it on that side. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get to that stuff, because it'll be thinner by itself and it'll be drier overall. So I'm trying to split little pieces of that, and the more paper thin you can get to start with, the better off. But after that, I can have big pieces ready to go. It doesn't even matter once I have flame. But have plenty of it, because you might just need to keep throwing it on to keep those flames going. Alright, I'm about ready to go here. I shook off my leather bin a little bit. It was pretty wet. I was worried about drops hitting my cotton ball and getting it wet. Got my fire steel in my hand. I took a piece of birch bark, put it on the wet rock, and I stripped off the outside, so it's pretty dry right here. So here's my cotton ball. It's pretty dry at this point. I think it will take a spark. I'm going to put it here. And here's my little pieces of birch bark that I got to get going first. All ready to go. This guy's a prime. He's got a nice little small little hook on the end. We'll see if I can get him going. I'm just going to use one other trick. Fire steel has a little bit of magnesium in it. So I'm just going to scrape the fire steel just a little bit to get some powder on the cotton before I strike it, and hope that it helps my spark a little bit. Now, you guys might be thinking, yeah, okay, your stuff's wet. Dry it. No brainer. Anybody can start a fire with something dry. But when you're out and you're racing that sun and you're under bad conditions, you're gonna rush, you're gonna make mistakes. So you should try this at home a few times before the sun is going to come down on you, so that you know how to do it under pressure. And you'll know to relax and take your time, and you'll know the amount of time that you need to complete the task. I'm just going to put a piece of birch bark right on there and hope that I can get that little coal going right around the birch bark, get the flame going. I think that's my best bet right now. Need to aim the spark right. There was a little bit of flame right around the birch bark, but it didn't, Oh no! Easier said than done. Got flame. Birch bark was put on earth by God so that man could live. This much is the truth. You don't want to just pile it on. Sometimes it takes a minute to get lit, especially if it's wet. So you want to hold pieces up like this and make sure they actually take a flame first. Then you can set them on the pile. And then they'll be dried out a little bit too. Just don't smother it. You can kind of stack them upright too. That helps. You just don't want to smother them. And I gotta start getting some of my smaller sticks lit or being dried off immediately. Now you want to have all the stuff ready to go. I didn't grab a lot. Kind of a mistake, but if I was in a real bad situation, I would have prepped a lot better for this. But you can see the birch bark's doing its thing, so Little sticks. These are little guys. And they're wet. I didn't even try to dry this stuff off at all. Take little pieces of birch bark, feed them underneath. You do need to keep a couple bigger pieces going too, birch bark. Come on, it's wet out today. It's all overcast. The ground's wet. It wasn't raining when I came out, but it's not a sunny day. It's not a sunny, dry day, that's for sure. I'm looking for some of the drier sticks. Need to make sure I get some of these smaller pieces of birch bark fed in here. Can't lose this flame. Can't lose the flame. Just keep birch bark going. Oh, that's nice papery stuff. That's going to go right up. Now, I want some sticks on top of it because I want them getting dry too. So, you can layer it. Now, once you get a coal bed, I'm on a little itty bitty rock here, so I'm not going to get a big coal bed going here. It's kind of comical, actually. But once you do get a coal bed going, you don't really have to worry about too much else. I would advise to always keep birch bark around though. And here's my other 2 pieces of cotton balls. I didn't use. I used one. 1 out of 3 that I had. So I still have those. I can tuck away for another day. And hopefully they'll be dry by then. Now, to recap. Go for dry. Don't go for wet. Use your head. Soak your cotton balls in Vaseline or keep them in an Altoids tin or, some kind of sealed, plastic something. I was just trying to show worst case scenario. If everything's completely soaking wet, that you can still, persevere. Anyways, Joe from survivethewild.us. Have a good one.